This is Deborah Atkinson, and you're listening to Flipping 50, where I address your top questions and struggles. I share what to eat, how to move, and how to think to get the energy and the vitality that you want in this second and better half. Welcome back to this part of the Flipping 50 Summer Inspire series, where I'm inviting back and inviting for the first time women and men, actually, there's an anomaly in the group, who are truly flipping 50 in various ways. And my guest today is Jennifer Long. Jennifer is a prior guest and a favorite client. And if anyone has been, we can call Jennifer a frequent flyer. She's shared her story twice. And now this is the third time making her officially the most frequent guest on the Flipping 50 show. She is from the Midwest, where she's working in healthcare, and she's in her 60s. She's an avid exerciser. It pains me to say she's an Iowa Hawkeye fan, also an avid fan, who I think it's fair to say enjoys sports both as a spectator and enjoys competing with herself and always bettering and improving herself. So in our show notes today, I'm going to link to prior episodes when Jennifer was already my guest, so we don't have to do all the backstory. We'll clue you in a little bit. And for now, we'll just give a tiny bit of that. Jennifer at one point gained significant amount of weight. She lost that weight, and now in her 60s, she's making some real lasting health changes, causing a big shift and overcoming some old patterns you listening might also have. So, thinking eating lower fat, lower calories, exercise, focus on quantity. If you've been caught in that trap and you're finding it's not working, listen up. We've got some things to share. Jennifer, thanks so much for being here this afternoon.
You're welcome. Glad to do it.
So, okay, let's fill everybody in on some of the dirt. So, what is your biological age?
I just turned 64 last month.
Okay, so here's the more interesting question. How old do you feel?
I probably feel like I'm in my late 30s, early 40s.
Wow.
I certainly have more energy than I did back at that time, I think.
So tell me, back at that time, weight-wise, where were you in comparison to today?
Well, in my late 30s, I believe I was around 260 pounds. But then I went on my fast for a couple years, and so by my early 40s I was around 140, I think, pounds.
Wow, big change.
Yeah.
Big change. Okay, and so I think it's fair.
I was playing slow pitch softball, and when I got down to that weight, I decided that I could slide into bases. So my first slide into third base, I broke my ankle.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh. Okay, so there's a little tip you didn't know you were going to get from listening to today.
Yeah, I wouldn't advise sliding when you're 40.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about this. So more recently, so let's look at the last couple of years. And you've really, as we were working together and still are, we struggled a little putting the pieces together. So just to catch anybody up without telling too much of the background, insomnia was really kind of a needle mover for us. So when we finally got the sleep actually increasing, that's when things really started to change. How much have you lost since that kind of flip of the needle? It was about 2 years ago now.
Yeah. And I I think probably around 65 or 70 pounds, I believe. So
Great. And I love the fact that you've said, I believe. So to listeners out there, this is huge because for a while, the scale was the big thing. And now it's become less of a thing. I mean, it's really been a thrill to watch you, Jennifer, kind of change your frame of mind about what's important and the way you feel and what you're doing, how you're living. I love that. So let's kind of dive into that a little bit. What have you started or stopped doing since what I would declare for you as flipping 50 would be in the last few years? Even though you're in your 60s, I think my definition of you flipping is, really living more empowered with more energy. What have you started or stopped, do you think, that's made the most difference to you?
well, I started sleeping.
Big.
That was the big thing. That was kind of, to me, that was, I just wanted to kind of own that I wanted to be able to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it. If I wanted to stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning, or drive home from Colorado at 7 o'clock at night. That was, at that time, was important to me, and it was kind of the last thing that I needed to change, but didn't really want to change that. So having to do that was a big thing. But then to see how much better I actually felt going to bed early and getting up early and the same time every day, 7 days a week. I just had so much more energy. I felt so much better, and so that was probably the biggest thing. I think we had changed my activity before then, that I wasn't exercising my brains out. And then, just changing the diet up some.
So let's talk about aging.
Sure.
What's your definition of aging?
I don't really have a definition. I mean, aging to me is just another candle on the birthday cake, and I'm so much stronger than I was. I don't think you can put any number or anything on aging. It's it's how you feel, and I want, I'm going to be retiring next year. I want to be able to do what things that I haven't been able to do working, and so I'm not really worried about what age I am. I've never, I had a friend that when she turned 30 was devastated by turning 30, and I'm going, what's the big deal? It's just another year. And that's kind of how I've always been, was that the year doesn't really make the difference to me. It's what I can do. And as you and I've talked, I work in healthcare. I see people younger than me needing wheelchairs and walkers, and 5 years ago that could have easily been me if I hadn't changed what I was doing. And I'm just not going to be one of those people. And so I take my health very seriously.
Awesome. Love that. Is there anything about aging that does bother you?
Mm, I think the only, got the family history of my dad's four sisters had Alzheimer's. My sister died a couple years from Alzheimer's. My mother had dementia. My dad had dementia. And so that's what bothers me probably the most. But again, my plan is to stay active and prevent those kind of things.
Nice. And can I ask, so any of those family members you mentioned, were they active during their life?
I think, they were all pretty much farmers, so, I mean, they didn't do regular exercise, but, they worked hard on the farm, and in the same way with my sister. She worked hard, and but didn't really exercise a lot.
So you're 64, just cutting your teeth on 64.
Yep.
What do you see in 10 years? Or even 20? What do you want to be doing? What are you planning on? You're talking about retirement. So what's on the horizon there?
I just want to be able to be out and about. I enjoy hiking. And, I've just never taken the time to do that with, I up until the last couple of years, I've actually been pretty much a workaholic, and that was the most important thing to me. But it's not anymore. So I want to hike. I want to fish. I think the sky's the limit. We've talked about the triathlon. It's not out of the realm.
I'm going to have to get you in a pool before that happens,
In time.
Y'all heard that, right? We're making progress, okay? Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, so now I've got a question for you. And this could be a broad question, literally, for you, in terms of family and friends, but I think you're also going to be able to answer this from a workplace standpoint. And interestingly enough, I speak to a fair amount of healthcare audiences, so I know that sometimes can be true. But do you feel, and we should let the audience members know that, Jennifer is just turning 64, but she's awful darn active. She works as hard as anybody. And in many cases, 20 and 30-somethings do. And she's from the Midwest. So, Jennifer, do you feel like you're swimming upstream? Ever feel that way with family, friends, or others who haven't adopted that same philosophy you've got?
No, I don't. They know me. They know they're not going to change my mind on what I'm doing. As you well know, and that's their life. This is the way I'm handling mine, and if they want to ask me questions, and are interested, I'm more than willing to help them. But you can't change somebody that doesn't want to change. So, on the other hand, they're really, I have so much support from family and friends and, people in the hospital that know me. They're just supportive. So, no, I don't. I don't let others bother me. If you talked about the food. It doesn't bother me that people are having parties and enjoying all the sweetness. I just, I might go to those parties, but I don't partake in anything unless it be some, I went to a retirement party a couple weeks ago that had nuts, and so I had a couple handfuls of nuts, but that's about as far as I go. And that's just my, I've been doing it long enough now that it's pretty easy not just to ignore what's going on around me.
Great. And I'm going to dig a little deeper here, and I'm not necessarily looking for, keep digging until you get the answer you want. That's not where I'm at here, but you work in diabetes care, and I think the audience member should know that. Is there any frustration with, in working with that? Are you seeing people who go through that?
So, yeah, it's sometimes very frustrating when people, just don't listen. They've heard it all over and over, and you're just not going to change them. And, to see somebody 35 knowing that if they don't change their ways in a few years, they're going to be in really bad shape, bothers me from a healthcare person. But then on the other hand, you got patients that, I've been doing this long enough that I can sit and talk to them about, how many carbs they should have, and I share with them. I just had a patient and wife the other day saying, "Oh my gosh, this is life-changing, what you've just told us." And so you have to focus on those types of people that you can help.
And that's exciting. That's really exciting. Do you ever share your story
With patients? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, yeah, probably more than I should, but I it's just important to me to try to get them to realize that they can make changes, and it's not going to harm them to do that. So.
Okay, I've got another question, and I may be beating a dead horse. We may have, asked this question in such a way that maybe your answer is very similar, but how important has environment been to you, including, surrounding yourself with people who are supportive? And hard to answer potentially if you haven't never had a lot of resistance, but what are your thoughts on that? Is it all you internally, or has external support been important?
Well, a lot of it's me, but man, there's nothing like having somebody come up to you and, actually, as I was coming in this morning, I just had finished I ran to work this morning, and I had a past employee of mine stop me and say, "You just look great." And, there's nothing like starting your morning off with something like that. But, I keep myself pretty motivated. I set goals to try to do better the next day than I did the last day, and so I think some of it's my competitiveness to always try to do better. That keeps me going, but nothing like having people tell you how great you look.
Awesome. All right. Do you ever catch yourself in the, it's hell getting old kind of mentality, or just there are those small comments I think that we all make, even though we think we've got a really positive attitude on aging. No matter what you're doing, I mean, have you caught yourself in that, or wondering, all right, if this is going on now, what's ahead?
No, I don't think so.
Good answer. Awesome answer. Talk to me and to the audience.
I just do my thing.
Oh. All right. Staying close to now. How do you feel that you're exercising smarter now than you might have in the past?
Well, I think it's all just how different I feel from doing that. Before you and I met, I worked myself to exhaustion because it was so important for me to lose weight and to have a set regimen every week that, sometimes I'm going harder, sometimes it's easier, and, we fought pretty hard in the beginning about taking a day off, and, first it was one day, and then I committed to doing 2 days off a week, and I work hard enough the other days that I value having those days off.
That's right. That was a big argument, should I say. So that big hurdle. And then, it was really only a big hurdle when we were introducing that first day off. And when it came time to introduce the second, it went so easily. You were like, okay, yeah, I'm ready.
No, I think I remember it saying, "Are you sitting down? Because I think I want to try the second day off."
That's very true. Very true. Okay, so last but not least, how has your nutrition changed? As a part of you going through this, you and I, as we've started our relationship, I think it was incredibly, different approach, to what you were doing, and yet still not seeing results. What do you look at as the biggest changes that you have made in your flipping 50 nutrition?
Well, I think the big hurdle was getting away from thinking that I had to eat less calories. And, granted, I'm probably not where you still want them, but we've compromised. So I think, the big change was just adding the calories in. I've always done quite a few vegetables, but, added a few more of those, and really focused on, the better carbs, a lot more sweet potatoes than I used to, the quinoa, I use that, and I think, I eat a better variety now than what I did probably even 2 years ago. I think those were the biggest things that, I've changed.
Great. Okay. And words of wisdom. If somebody's thinking, I'm over 50 or I'm over 60 and it's too late, what do you say to that?
It's never too late. And you just gotta, when I started this, I could only do like maybe 30 minutes. And, you just gradually have to get used to that. Even if you did 15 minutes, get used to that and then increase it by 5 or 10, when you're ready to do that. And then you end up, doing 5Ks and 10Ks and whatever else might be out there.
Fantastic. Jennifer, thanks so much for being here. And to anybody who's listening, if there's a question that you wish I would have asked Jennifer, leave it below the show link at flipping50.com, all spelled out, no numbers. I love hearing from you. And if this episode was helpful, please leave a rating in iTunes and then share it with a friend. Surround yourself with a supportive community of women on the same journey. To get the most from this week's episode, check out today's show notes at flipping50.com/podcast, where you will find the juicy downloads and the resources and backlinks to Jennifer's prior guest podcast. And let's start Flipping 50 together.